You are looking at the new cheapest way to get 300 miles of range in a new electric car. That's a new Chevy Equinox EV, and it costs about $35,000. So today I'm gonna show you what you get for the money, full Google integration, and what you don't. This is not luxurious in here. We'll be giving the new Equinox an Edmunds EV range test in addition to putting it through our usual performance testing, all to let you know whether or not this is an exceptional value or just a not so great cheap alternative to other mainstream EVs. But first, make sure to like and subscribe and head over to edmunds.com for information on the new Equinox EV and any electric vehicle on the market. We'll even give you a cash offer on your used car. You guys ready? Let's start with the Edmunds EV range test. The car I'm driving is an Equinox EV with front-wheel drive, which is rated by the EPA at 319 miles. After a lengthy day behind the wheel, the Equinox managed 356 miles in our test, smashing its estimate. This is the least expensive vehicle that we've tested to hit over 350 miles, also beating the Kia Niro EV at 280 and the Tesla Model 3 long range at 338. This is a very impressive result, but not necessarily a surprising one. The Equinox continues the trend of GM EVs overperforming on our test. With the range test complete, here's how Chevy's entry-level EV did at the Edmunds test track. The Equinox EV hit 60 miles per hour in 7.8 seconds. The closely matched Kia Niro EV ran to 60 in 7.1 seconds. However, the Equinox is much slower than the Tesla Model 3 long range, which hit 60 in just 4.2 seconds. The Equinox stopped from 60 to 0 in an impressive 121 feet. That's slightly worse than the Niro at 119 feet, but better than the Model 3 at 124 feet. But what's it like to drive? All right, my friends, remember what I am driving right now. This is a Chevy Equinox EV, and you're probably familiar with the Chevy Equinox because it's been around for a million years, but with an engine. And if I'm being honest, the gas-powered Equinox drives just sort of meh. It drives like a $30,000 SUV because that is exactly what it is. But comparing it apples to apples with this, the EV is much better to drive. And that is where the clear advantage of an electric vehicle comes into play. When I put my foot down, there's not some nasty four-cylinder under the hood that's making a whole bunch of noise. Instead, the EV here just kind of pushes onward like it's completely unbothered. One of my favorite things about the Blazer EV is the ride quality in that vehicle. I've gone on record a few times doing videos on that car, and every time I've said I love the way that it rides. And I'm really happy now driving the Equinox that the same DNA is included in this car. It's great over bumps, it's great on the highway. They just did a fantastic job with it. The other thing that transfers over from the Blazer is how quiet the Equinox is. I'm doing 70 miles per hour right now, nothing. There's never an issue on the highway. It's really, really solid work for a car that's just not that much money. I'm also happy that they've made Super Cruise available on this Equinox. I can't tell you what it's like because it's not in front of me right now. It does cost you $3,500, which is expensive, but I have to say Super Cruise is still my favorite hands-free driving system on the market, but you better like it because you gotta pay for it. The big difference with this car is it is front-wheel drive. And with 288 horsepower and a front-wheel drive car and EV-focused tires that aren't super grippy, you can make this thing push a lot, and quickly too. Now, I know this is not a performance car. You will not be driving it around a racetrack, and if you are, that's a weird day. Please tell me why you're doing that. But the Equinox does start to show its front-wheel drive nature when you push it hard. This thing is much more at home on a highway where you don't have to worry about the tires squealing. That is a humongous screen. In fact, it is the biggest screen of any non-luxury car in the entire industry. And when you're talking about a base spec Equinox, that's a lot to work with. Now let's start with the good. The good is that you get full Google integration. That means Google Maps, you get the voice assistant, and you get the Google Play Store, which lets you download third-party apps like Spotify. So all that is right there all the time. The bad is that you do not get Apple CarPlay and you do not get Android Auto. Chevy's made the decision that they're just not putting it in any of their electric vehicles. So you can have this exact same screen in a Suburban with CarPlay, but here in the Equinox, no. Hey Google, does that decision make any sense?
Maybe try again.
You should try again. And since I already mentioned the Blazer EV, this is the exact same tech setup that we have in that car. That's one that we've owned for a year now, and we've had quite a few issues. It's been glitchy. Chevy has actually had to go in and replace certain components in the hardware. So we're hoping that newer products like the Equinox are gonna be much better. With the Equinox, so far so good. Another quick side note, the sound system, also just like in our Blazer EV, not so great. Now, let's be very, very clear about this. This is not luxurious in here. The materials are black plastic all over the place. We have cloth seating. This is Chevy in its most honest form. It's just kind of the way it is. But I also want to say that that's not really a bad thing here because the foundation is all there. Everything feels well built. It's all screwed together very well. Nothing is ill-fitting. That kind of stuff is all good. What you do not get is a list of features that you normally want in a new car. This does not have heated seats, for example. It has single zone climate control. You can fix that, you just have to throw money at the problem. For me, I would no doubt about it add the $1,500 comfort package because then you get heated seats up front, this becomes power, and you get lumbar support. That is a no-brainer. You can add up to $12,000 worth of options to make this interior feel a lot more expensive. Dual zone climate control, heated steering wheel, ventilated front seats, a wireless charging pad. These are all things that you can have, but you gotta pay for them. This is what you're getting for that $35,000. The Blazer EV has 5.5 inches more space between the wheels than the Equinox. So I was thinking that getting into this car, it would feel a lot smaller, especially in the back seat. But that's not true. It's actually great back here. I'm sitting behind myself as a driver right now, 5'8", so not super tall, but there is plenty of legroom back there. Somebody much taller than me could still be comfy back here. You know what? There's a good amount of headroom too. We don't have a panoramic roof or anything impeding on headspace. So even if you're tall, we should be good. There's not a long list of features back here to keep you comfy, but you do get air vents, which is a big deal. You're not gonna cook back here, and 2 more places to charge your phone. This feels like everything you would want and need as an Uber passenger and not much more. So let me now show you that the Equinox EV actually is a decent sized SUV. Check out the cargo area. Just to give you an idea of where we're at in terms of space, you have more than a Kia Niro EV, but less than a Hyundai Ioniq 5. The space itself is big. You can stretch out all the way back here, and there's a nice underfloor storage area to fit smaller items. Now, one thing I like is that you can have a giant check-in sized suitcase. The load floor is very low, so somebody short like me, no problem throwing stuff in the back. You also have space for a few extra suitcases that are carry-on size, even a bit more beyond that. One problem is that the Equinox does not have a frunk. The second row does fold down 60-40 split to give you some extra space when you need it, but you're doing it old school with your hands. No power folding here. You know, credit to Chevrolet who gave us a base model car for this review. We're so used to testing fully loaded models so that we can actually show you all the options on a car. But this gives you a really neat look at what you get for the base price. Now, I know I've already said this a few times, but there are no options on this car, which means including the destination charge, this is less than $35,000. That is a hell of a value. And keep in mind, it is currently eligible for the federal tax credit. At least at this moment in time, you can still get that. We don't quite know about the future, but as of now, $7,500 off if you qualify. With the tax credit, you would be under 30 grand for a new electric vehicle. Only the Tesla Model 3 can also get you 300 miles of range for roughly the same price. Kia EV3 is coming, the Volvo EX30, but they're not here yet. Don't forget that GM knows how to build a car for the people. In 2016, they did the Bolt, which did 238 miles of range compared to a Nissan Leaf, which at the time could do less than 200. Go back to 2013, they did the plug-in hybrid Volt. That could do 38 miles of all-electric range. That's about as much as a Prius Prime can do today. And the Equinox feels like the next chapter in that story. You're getting a lot of car for a not-so-crazy price. So to recap, huge range, great passenger space, and solid technology to go with it. This is the new best value in the EV game. Now, what do you think of the new Equinox EV? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.
Lower, yep, there it is.
5B, take 1, conclusion.